Hey guys. All right, talking heat today. Yeah, we're turning up the heat. Jerry Doyle told me to get like a portable one of these. I love it, but my producer doesn't like it when I walk around and then, I shift sound. Let's see, I get to... Come on, Mike. Miss Jerry Doyle, I miss him. All right, guys, we are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dali, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Well, it is hot. It is getting hot. Lot of excessive heat warnings being issued throughout the United States. The National Weather Service issues a severe heat warning, usually 12 hours before the going gets bad. And, heat warnings, excessive heat warnings, the definitions actually vary a little bit. In my neck of the woods, now I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so we get hot and we kind of get a dry heat. Everybody complains in Las Vegas. Oh my gosh, it gets so hot. It gets up to 120 out here. Guys, come on, man, go down to Mississippi, go down to Alabama, go to New York. That when it gets humid, that's not easy. I'll take dry heat any day. So basically, the definition is where, and I got to read this, okay? Because I got to make this right here. It's where your heat index, which is basically the temperature and humidity. Okay, we just don't look at temperature because if you have low humidity or high humidity, that's an issue. So it's where your heat index will be greater than 105 degrees for more than 3 hours a day for at least 2 days in a row. So whenever you guys watch the news and you see them show a range of numbers and they look like above 100. Just expect, don't go, well, you know what? It says 102 in my area or 103. It's hot. Okay. Now, at nighttime, the temperatures aren't going to really drop below 75. So that's kind of the range, like maybe a 75 to 105. Not good for those of us who are at risk for heat illness. I got allergies today, so sorry. I'm a little boogery. And so my worry as a doctor is, are you guys going to get heat illness or heat exhaustion? There was one gentleman who told me that he got heat exhaustion. I go, are you sure? It sounds like you might have had a heart attack. You fainted. He goes, well, the ER said it was heat exhaustion. They checked the heart. They said it was fine. A couple months later, he was dead from a heart attack. And so I think it's really important to know the definitions of what actually heat illness is. So heat illness technically is when you get, sick by the heat. All right. I mean, I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but the first thing that happens when you have heat illness is you start getting cramps. That's one of the first signs. You're like, well, what's going on here? Well, it's because you're sweating and then you're unfortunately losing a lot of your salts. And when you lose a lot of your salts, you could get kind of achy. And so if you sweat because your body's trying to cool your body down, you could get heat cramps. Now, some people will say, Dr. Wachs, I'm good. I didn't sweat at all. You not sweating could be a sign of you starting to go into heat exhaustion. If you're not sweating and it's hot outside, that means you might be running out of fluid to make you sweat. And so if that's the case, now we're kind of looking at heat exhaustion. Now, heat exhaustion is where you're starting to get dehydrated. You get kind of maybe some nausea. Your heart rate may actually go up because it's trying to increase the cardiac output. You may get a little faint. And very interesting, an older person or a younger person may just be quiet. So everybody's outside with the barbecue and everybody's having fun. And they're like, oh, grandma hasn't said anything in like an hour. And everyone's like, ooh, let sleeping dogs lie. Right? If grandma's not, throwing a guilt trip on us, let's just let that, or, don't wake the sleeping dragon. The problem is if grandma's quiet, she could be going into heat exhaustion. All right. When somebody's just kind of tired and not really doing much out in the heat, it may already be kind of too late. And the big reason why we worry about heat exhaustion is we don't want it to go into heat stroke. So with heat exhaustion, if they're still conscious and, start giving them fluids to drink. When in doubt, still call 911, get some medical personnel on board. But, try to get them, out. First, get them out of the heat. Then, give them things to drink, whether it's cool water or Pedialyte or whatever, just, Gatorade, just get them some drinks and some salts in them, no alcohol. You can put ice packs by their underarm, in their groin, things like that to kind of cool them down. The underarm and groin area seem to be pretty close, obviously, to the central part of the body. You got to be careful putting it around the neck sometimes because that could kind of affect some of the blood, some of the heartbeat. But you want to try to cool them down, but get them from the outside. All right, and then lie them down, okay? Because they may get dizzy and faint. So lie if somebody is kind of like, oh, I'm a little tired, just keep them lied down on the couch. That's fine. All right. And then, maybe use a fan, try to cool them down. Now, heat stroke is where we really get nervous because heat stroke is where they could be losing consciousness. If you are at all unsure, well, I don't know if this is technically cramps or stroke, just call 911. Okay. That's what they're there for. And they're awesome. All right. And if somebody's going in and out of consciousness, don't try to force them to drink because they can unfortunately aspirate and get the fluid in their lungs. So just keep them cool. Sometimes you have to remove some of the clothing, try to cool them down again with cool compresses until medical personnel arrive. Keep in mind you got dogs and kitty cats also that may accidentally get stuck outside. Keep an eye on them, okay? They're people too. They're our animals. So make sure they're inside. Watch out for your older people and, younger ones. But now, the big question I get is my air conditioning's out. And luck of the draw, it happened in June or July. That's exactly what happens. If your air conditioning is going to poop out, it's not going to poop out in December because your air conditioning's not on in December. So what happens is you start cranking up the air conditioning and then all of a sudden you find, oh, it's out. So then you try to call an air conditioning repair person and they're booked for 2-3 weeks. So if you think you have a crappy air conditioning system that hasn't been checked on, you might as well give it a checkup now before things get bad. If you lose your air conditioning, you may have to just leave and go to a friend's, hang out there. My house is already booked. All right. I have like 2 spare bedrooms I only have 1 spare bedroom, but I'll turn my room into a spare bedroom for anybody, especially if you're a firefighter. Anyway, I already have it booked because there's always people that lose their air conditioning. So I have to kind of save it for them because they don't listen to me. But close your curtains. Like right now, when you go outside or when you go to work, close the curtains. Try to conserve and have less heat come into play. Don't turn the air conditioning off when you leave and then turn it back on when you come home. It's better to just maybe keep it at 75, even 78, just to have some baseline coolness. You're probably not going to get heat stroke or heat illness at 78 degrees. Yeah, a lot of us like it in the 60s, but if you're worried that you're going to poop your air conditioning unit out, do that. And then make sure you have plenty of fluids. Maybe don't cook, in the heat of day. And, try to do a lot of activities at night. All right, I hope that helps. I taught you guys something. Be safe out there in the heat. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.